unless there's more people than I see.
Right, that's what I was looking for, gallery. Okay, Lindsay's here. Thought Ted was going to be
Huh.
here. Okay, well, is Mary here? I don't see Mary. There's Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. So how's everybody joining the weather, doing the weather?
It looks like we're getting a break.
Huh?
I could see clouds for the first time.
Yeah, but what's happening, I wanted to share, and I don't know if everybody knows about this, that there's an air quality sensor that the Department of Environment has taken over and created a website so that you can see the particulates in the air at different places. And so we have a sensor at the Saugerties Library.
Mhm.
And if you look at the map that they provide, um, under just air, if you look at that website, you can find your little town or community, and see what the air quality is. And as of 2 this afternoon, the air quality at our library was 183 ppm.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah. And the one in Kingston was at 223. So we have better air. That's all I can say.
Better air.
Barely.
Oh,
Barely.
what's the website?
Just air. I'll see if I can, thought I had sent it on to everybody through one of the emails, but let me see if I have it here, actually.
There's also purple.
I'll put it in I'll send it on to
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you.
Yeah, there's also purple air and
Yes.
something like airnow.gov. Also good.
Correct. And it's actually using the Purple Air information.
Mhm.
That Just Air is a website that uses that information.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard there's a link on the town website. I haven't checked that.
Oh, okay, good.
And yeah, we had to go down to Kingston to run some errands, and it was noticeably worse down there than up here in West Saugerties.
Yay, Saugerties.
Mm.
And
Okay, well,
Well,
maybe Mary will show up a little bit later. She said she was coming, so
good.
it's a poignant time to be doing some of the stuff we're going to be talking about.
oh, really? Really?
Mm.
So I sent the minutes out and looked them over. Has everybody looked them over? Does anybody want to make any kind of additions, subtractions?
I have one silly comment, one typo. Nelson Pope Boris is misspelled on page 10. That's the only
Okay,
thing I could find to offer us.
somebody really looked it over.
Wow.
What was misspelled? Say again, Stephen?
I think Boris has two O's in it.
Yes, it does.
Um,
Otherwise, I'm heartily in favor of accepting the minutes in their extreme detail as
Boy,
As a
you're a
man.
tough guy. It's good.
I
That's
wasn't
good. At
sure
least,
how if we were supposed to fill these questionnaires out or just think about them.
okay, we'll talk about it. I'm just doing the minutes right now. Is everybody okay with the minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye. Anybody opposed? No. Okay. So we have a couple of guests with us tonight. Uh, Ted Maroney, who's I saw first, and Stephen met first at one of the meetings, the best meetings at the town board, and he seemed to have some background in BESS and solar. And we talked to him a little bit, had a little coffee with him, and he was interested in coming. So Ted's here. Can you hear us there, Ted? Are you on?
It looks like he's connecting currently.
Okay. Okay. We got two Teds now. We'll get him on. And then, so who was here with us last week from Cornell Cooperative Extension? Lindsay, who was our mentor through this vulnerability and resilience um, episodes. So, hi, Lindsay.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. So, I was going to say that first thing we did last week, we submitted the CCAP to the town board, and I don't know if they got it. Was there any reaction to that, Bill?
No, I haven't heard a thing.
Okay. Well, it's there. Have them look at
Well,
it.
I think no news
Mary
is good
spent a
news,
lot of
probably.
time, and we spent a lot of time doing that. So, hope you'll look at it and give us some reaction. So, so we're into this vulnerability and resilience studies. And what Lindsay has sent two different things. One is a questionnaire, which I attached for you, that is that's actually the town is going to, there's 5 sections. Let's see if I can bring it up. So there's 5 sections, and the town is going to fill out the first 4, the third being stakeholders, which we're going to add to. If anybody knows anyone in the community who can add anything to a discussion, there's going to be a workshop, right, Lindsay? And these people will be at that workshop. And these are suggestions. For example, Barry McNamara was certainly very much involved in shore studies and water studies. He was there last year. No, I'm sorry, in 2019. So she's going to be there. And I thought that Patrick Landaway would be a really great person. So I called him, and he's going to, we're going to put his name in. If there's anybody you know in the community who is especially in touch with these environmental issues, especially disaster issues and extreme weather issues, who would be willing to come to a workshop with Lindsay and others, please let us know, and we can put their names in there. Okay. So that's one thing we should do. And to your answer, Elizabeth, no, the town is doing most of this questionnaire. We're adding names to section 3. And then we're responsible for getting a survey out. Now I've also included that as a detachment. So that survey in the form that you see it does have, oops, that's not the right one. It has questions about conditions around Saugerties. And, if you pull it up, there's climate hazards, there's increased flooding, there's sea level rise and extreme heat. And it asks you to rate all those things and make comments about those conditions. We're going to send that survey around to very many people. We've gotten the list, or the town's got the list from Terry's outreach to announce the town board meetings, which has on it a lot of people who are very interested in governance. Also, there's the committees and the committee heads. We're going to send it out to them also. And what I'd like the CAC to do is to take this survey and forward it to the people on your contact list who are interested in the environment and might want to comment on these extreme weather conditions. So that's one assignment for everybody, is to take that survey within the introduction. We're going to talk about the introduction. In the introduction, we're going to work on that a little bit. Let me see if I can find that. There's kind of some words about what it's about. It says our community has experienced extreme weather incidents made worse by climate change, increased flooding, extreme heat, heavy rains, severe storms, drought, and I added, because of today, compromised air quality and more. The town of Saugerties is working in collaboration with the Cornell Cooperative Extension and the Conservation Advisory Committee Climate Task Force to assess these and other climate-rated hazards. We would like your input. Please share your opinion on how the town of Saugerties is threatened by these extreme weather and climate change-related hazards by completing the survey prepared by Cornell Cooperative Extension, which can be accessed through the link below, and I've added the link. And the results will be used in formulating a vulnerability assessment and future climate adaptation plan. that line we might want to change. But anyway, that's the introduction. We'll pass around, and then the survey. There's a link there, and that brings you right to the survey on the Cornell Cooperative Extension's website, and people can fill that out right there. So, is that understood? Is there any question? Steve has his hand up. Stevens has his hand up.
Looking at the survey, I found that all the items were very threatening. I'm just going to jump. For example, climate hazard, increased flooding, very threatening, somewhat threatening, not a threat, or not applicable. Sea level rise, increased extreme heat, increased drought. All of these, to me, are very threatening. Maybe sea level rise less, but we're on an estuary. I would find it difficult to rate. Maybe I don't know, some of these surveys should force you into either ranking them as worst to least, or in some other way. Because if I were doing this now, I would just check them all off as very threatening.
So do you have comment on that, Lindsay? I kind of find that to be the case too, but I made decisions. But can you comment on that?
Yeah, we talk through that part of it. And what we're trying to assess is each individual hazard, because we're breaking those out and giving recommendations for each. So what we found through Columbia County, for example, is that we ended up, by nature of people taking the surveys, that we ended up with a top 4 anyway. So we will get there. And when we do the adaptation plan in full, hopefully, guys, you will be interested and on board to do that with us next year. We'll be using this information to inform that process as well. So if there needs to be a ranking that we want to do for a survey in that style, we can. But for this one, I feel like this group is probably on the same page as much as anybody. We're going to be putting like everything is very threatening. But what we have found in the past for Columbia County, for at least, is that many people don't find them all threatening. There might be a couple, but then the rest are kind of somewhat threatening, or they don't find a threat at all. So it's very interesting. Just depends on the group that you're in.
So the answer is just go with your gut and say if they're all threatening, go ahead and check them all that way.
Yes, exactly. If that's how you feel, absolutely check off every single one is starting. Data is data.
Okay. Kathleen.
I'm just wondering how this fits in with the hazard mitigation plan. Saugerties is part of the county hazard mitigation plan that was done, and it's been updated at least once, I know. And they identified the risks in that plan for the town of Saugerties and village, I believe. So, I mean, how does this information mesh with that?
Yep. So they are standalone plans, in the sense that each is done separately. The hazard mitigation plan is more of a top-down kind of perspective. So you're getting your contractors to tell you kind of their recommendations, versus the adaptation plan, which is again going to be more adaptation recommendations, and it's going to be more of a bottom up. So you can see that we're doing public survey, we're bringing in the community perspective and their interest and what's important to them, and building it up from there. The long-term.
I'm not sure what you mean by contractors there.
So hazard mitigation plans are usually done by, they're contracted out to companies to do them. So they're looking at the information from a top-down perspective.
I think they did get a lot of community input, I believe. I know the police department was involved.
Yeah, so municipal stakeholders, absolutely, like as in police, EMS, folks that will be at these workshops and doing the planning tools along with us. But input for like the general public
Mhm.
for surveys like this are not. So
Yeah.
that's the difference. And the
Okay.
long-term goal is to have them work together in a better way.
Mhm.
That was kind of the, I guess, ideal scenario that would have happened in Columbia County. They were in the midst of doing a hazard mitigation update, but the timing and delays on that didn't sync up to what we were doing with our adaptation plans for them. So we ended up getting ours out before the hazard mitigation plan got updated. So ideally, in the future, somehow we'll be able to do those together and in sync, and then they'll inform each other instead of, not instead of, but uh, idea is to lessen the duplication of work.
But also, this is aimed at updating our 2010 resiliency report. Is that correct? And also
Yeah.
creating the other thing within the climate smart communities um, uh, actions of vulnerability assessment. So
Mhm.
part of this is aimed at that. So it is
Yes.
separate because it's aimed at those action plans within the climate smart communities programs.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
it adds another layer to our knowledge and also gets us some points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all those things are, and when this gets done, then it's going to be handed over to
Mhm.
Evelyn and Linda and Evelyn will work on getting that into the Climate Smart Communities program to get us some points for it. So, you can look at it as just another layer and another way of looking at these vulnerabilities and resilience,
Mhm.
the perspective. So that's
Yeah.
why we're doing it. And
You-
uh, Cornell Cooperative Extension came to us and said, we've been funded to help you out with this resiliency report and the vulnerability assessment, thing. So why don't we do that? And so we said, yeah, let's do that. So it's an additional but separate thing. So isn't that out the perspective there, Lindsay? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say you nailed it on the head. You also might have like hear other plans that seem similar. There's a Lula Rise tool that's been out.
Right.
And so kind of a difference between that and this is that the planning tool and the vulnerability assessment that we're doing with you guys is more comprehensive. It's more in depth as far as the range of hazards, whereas the Lula Rise is going to be more focused on flooding. So it will inform, but we're doing a much wider cast for hazards and getting more recommendations across the board.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Kathleen?
Certainly does. Thank you very much.
Great.
You're welcome.
Okay. So Bill, you have your hands up?
Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to point out. What Skip, you and I had talked about, the letter that the forwarding
This is
letter,
where we're calling the introduction right now.
the introduction. We thought that would be signed by Fred, the
Yes.
town supervisor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And we had talked, I don't want to get ahead of you, Skip, about putting a suspense, a due date, just so it doesn't get lost in people's to-do pile.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there is some thoughts on that.
Okay,
Um,
and wanna say-
Lindsay, Bill had thought that we should
Mhm.
put a due date on it to get people moving and do it. You'd suggested what, August?
So
What-
we have I guess to give you a rough timeline, we have the planning tool meetings. Once I get that questionnaire from you guys, hopefully sooner than later, I'll be scheduling out a planning tool meeting. So that's going to be like a 2-hour meeting to do that update. While we're planning that, we'll have the survey out. Our vulnerability workshops are planned for the end of September. So we're looking to close the survey around September 14th. So that gives a good length of time for it to be out, gives the opportunity to, recycle it around, repost it if you're doing social media, resend it an email if you're doing that. To get, as you were saying, refreshers for people that forget. I'm probably one of those for questionnaires, at least. It's on the to-do list, and then out of sight, out of mind. So
Well-
to repost it a few times, there'll be lots of opportunities to do that.
Right, but reposting it, redoing it again is a certain amount of work. I mean, we're asking the town to do this, and
Mhm.
they said, okay, we'll do it with a list, but there was some reluctance there. To ask them to do it several times, might be a burden, more than we want to take on. So we're trying to pick a method that reduces the amount of effort, but increases the amount of participation in the survey. So just to say, oh, well, we can remind them a couple of times, probably, is that usually what you have to do? You have to resend this thing several times to everybody you send it out, because that seems like significant amount of work.
It depends on the municipality. So there are municipalities that have a very lively Facebook group. They have their town clerk that runs it. They usually don't have an issue as long as they're sent the text and the picture. It's an easy post. Other ways to do it, people have done through community boards. So if you have like a Facebook community board that a volunteer can just post on there, that's an easy way. Alternatively, for the town website, if they're reluctant to kind of make a newsletter announcement, if you will, just having it, again, I'll have to look at your website again. I'm meshing that with the Scopus right now. But if there's a standalone kind of announcement that some municipalities have like just on the side, that could be something that they could do. They post it once, it's there on the side, it's a quick link to the survey, and then it's there until September 14th.
That's on the website, but that's the website's kind of a passive thing with, people show up there and see it, but if they don't go there, I'm thinking of more of the active thing where we've, asked the secretary, the supervisor secretary, to send this specifically to her last list of
Okay.
75 or 100.
Okay, that's the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Right.
I just had a conversation with Fred and Terry, his administrative assistant, was willing to use that list. But Fred said he doesn't like it because it's like betraying people's trust. They said they just sent their name there saying, the reason we just want to be advised of the meeting agendas. That's why we're giving you our email address. And then we're going to use it for a different purpose. And I said, well, so we talked about that just an hour ago. He said, we'll work. He's supportive of doing this. I told him where we got the list in the first place, Skip. He said, well, let's have a meeting early next week and we'll figure out how to do it. Okay. So that's where it stands right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there might be a possibility of creating an opt-in, talking about opt-ins and opt-outs, where people on that list could opt in for more information.
Well, let's not get
That's a
this.
separate thing.
Let's not go there. I think we're either going to, if we can't use the list, we can't use the list, and let's find a different source. I thought that wouldn't be a difficult thing to do. I didn't think it would be a problem. It would be directly to
Well,
people.
we thought it wouldn't, then we thought it would, and then we thought it
So
would.
we're going to have to rethink that. Now, what about, did you find out about, does she have the committee people's emails? Can we send to that? And is that a list we can send to?
She doesn't. But she was willing to type in the names,
Okay,
type
great.
in email addresses.
All right, so that's one. Okay, that's
Yeah.
one good source. And that's what we're talking about, Lindsay. That's a list of all the town committees.
Okay.
And you're going to send it to, at least though, you're willing to send it out to the heads of all the departments, I take it, right, Bill?
Yeah. Yes, department heads too.
So we got the department
In
heads, we got
addition-
the
And in
committees.
addition, use the website and the Facebook page.
Well, yes, but that's if people
Well, go there.
go to Facebook or go to the website.
Exactly.
We're talking about the actual outreach of this.
Right.
So we've got those two, and we've got to talk about that first option and have a meeting about that. Stephen, you have your hand up?
Well, I lost track of what you meant by the list.
There was an idea that Terry has a list that she sends the announcement of the town board meeting.
Oh, I see.
75 people, and they seem to be people who would be most interested in governance. They want to know about what's happening in the town. They want to know about town board meetings. So the idea was here's a good list of people who would be open and wanting to be involved in this survey. But as you said, and it seemed like a good idea, but this is breaking news on that Fred doesn't want to use that list, and we just found out about that. So.
Okay, well, maybe we could compile one based on commission members, other members of town government, and then we submit some more.
We have that list.
Yes.
Yes, we have that list. Mary's compiled that list. I sent it on to Bill, and apparently Terry's willing. I mean, that's her town list for the announcement was easy. It's one click, added all the thing.
It's
the
Google.
Committee members and all that, she's going to have to move all those names from a list into an email. So it's a good deal more work.
Well, good. That's nice to do. I think we definitely need a reminder. Very few questionnaires are handled on the first round.
Okay, so once we have that compiled list, we can save that. And then if we need to do it again, then it's already a group that can be added. Is that correct,
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right.
Mike,
you have your hand up.
Yeah. Mike Campbell on Facebook did put out our
yes
scientific research on beds.
Yes.
That goes out to a lot of people.
Yes. That's
going. Fred mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes. That's going to be we're doing that also.
Okay.
Yes. Both that and all the websites are going to get it. But we thought that a website is more something they would have to go to and discover it rather than being presented directly with the information as in getting an email and saying, hey, here's a survey, an intro, here's what this survey is about. Pay attention to this rather than stumbling upon it possibly. I don't do Facebook, so I'm probably not a person to talk about that. But also Facebook might have something that you'd more stumble upon it than actually, hey, here's a survey we want you to see and put it in their lap. So that was the idea there. So do you have any other suggestions there, Lindsay? So we're talking about the websites, we're talking about the Facebook, and that's going to be done. We're talking about reaching out to the committee persons. Apparently that's possible, and we're going to do that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I don't know what else Fred wants to talk about relative to the other lists, but you're saying there's a possibility there of another machination of that, Bill?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. If you're really adamant that there's a list of people we need to have on there, like from Mary's list, then I'll push for it. We'll try.
Well, I mean, if the idea is not a good idea, if he doesn't want to use it, then we can drop it. That's fine. I don't want to try to do something that he feels uncomfortable with. Right. It just seemed like an opportune list. So we'll drop that. But at least you're going to get it out to the committee people and the department heads. We can do it personally. It'll go to Facebook and it'll go to the websites. Does that seem adequate, Lindsay?
Yeah, I was going to ask if the town has a newsletter. A lot of municipalities have a community newsletter that gets emailed, I think, like once a month or so, or maybe more often. I'm seeing shakes of no. Okay. So that's been a positive way for people to receive it.
Yeah, it would be a good idea.
But then also libraries have their own network.
The library is willing to do it. Yeah.
What's the library willing to do?
Yeah, have a flyer out there ready for people to look at.
Okay, so that's a flyer. That's something that people have to come upon rather than being presented with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had the flyer, some libraries were willing to add it to their contact list. So when they send out information about their own programs, they also had the survey link on that.
Okay, well, we can reach out to
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ken, you're on that board, is that correct? You're muted, Ken.
Oh, I know. Not anymore. Yes, I'm on the board.
So would you be willing to present that to the board and say, hey, here's a survey we'd like to get out to your constituents and
I think I would just present it to the director.
okay,
We just had a board meeting. It would be another month before the board meets.
okay, but the director could make that decision and you
Oh,
could
yeah,
do
I
that.
think so. Yeah, I'll be happy.
Okay, so we'll do that through Ken.
Well, Ken, would it take a meeting? Would it have to be done in a meeting, or could Jen decide on her own?
That's what I would talk to her about.
So I could go.
I would think she could decide on her own.
I could just go talk to her sometime before the next board meeting.
Sure, why don't you do that? That'd be
Okay.
fine. You can
All
better
right.
explain it than I can.
Okay, that's great. So we got the library probably on board. She's really community minded. I thought,
And they have an environmental committee.
On it, right.
Oh, great. All right. So if you would take that whenever we do the final decision on the intro and take it to her and say, hey, can you put this on, get this out to your environmental or other people?
Yeah.
And we want to capture, just beyond the people that are interested in the environment. Ideally, those are the people that will be taking the survey, but more enthusiastically, I think. But we want to capture everybody that's in the community as much as possible.
Well, that'll be on the website. It'll be on
Yeah.
Facebook. I don't know any other way other than knocking on people's doors.
Yeah, that's
To reach
too much.
those people. To reach those
Um,
people, I think we should count on that kind of Facebook thing. I don't know that we have the ability to go much farther than that unless you have some, suggestions other than what we've already mentioned here.
Yeah, I think it was just, I think what I emailed in about concerning community groups and doing the same thing with the libraries, reaching out to them, seeing one if they could post it physically in their location, but then also seeing if they would be willing to email it to their network.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm familiar with the types of community groups, but again, they might be the folks that you would want to have at the workshop. So
Yeah, there are a few. There's pardon me for barging in, Skip.
No, that's all right. They're good.
There is a list of people who are concerned about Winston Farm. They might respond. They're environmentalists.
And who has that list?
I'll check around.
Okay, great. All right. So that's another source.
and any farms in the area,
Yes,
they would be willing to take it.
Any which?
Farms. I'm just thinking of CC probably has a list of farms. The ag person there might be willing to share some that are actually in your direct.
That would be very, very, very few. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We could you get a hold of the farmers market. I could call Judith.
That's
They
okay.
send out a newsletter, whether they'd be willing to do that. That would be kind of out of their normal mode on the list they send out, but I could ask her. I'll ask Judith. Okay. Any other ideas and suggestions? How can we get the word out about the survey?
I'm thinking of what other municipalities have done that's been successful. It's been, we, I guess, usually flyer, we have set locations that we usually go to. So town halls, post offices, libraries, any community areas that, people frequent. So over here, there's a couple Stewarts that people go to often. There's a couple cafes, and where else we've gotten some people from.
This is the poster with the
With the QR code.
right.
So that way people, as they're walking through, can just open it on their phone, and it's a quick thing they can do later.
I don't know if I shared that with her. Lindsay had sent me, there's a poster describing what's going on, and it's got a QR code which brings you to the website and
Okay.
to the survey. So
Yeah, it's been the easiest thing to just have up anywhere that people can walk by, or if you're at a tabling event, to bring as an extra measure for people to do. So let's say we have the fairs coming up. So for Columbia County, when we were doing the CARP process with them, we brought all of that information to the fair and got a lot of people to do the survey then.
Sure, we can.
okay, Stephen, you have your hand up?
Yes, so can we submit some more names to the list that you have compiled? Because I've never sent any names to that list.
Now, to which are you speaking? Are you talking about the stakeholders on the questionnaire, or are you talking about the outreach for the survey?
The outreach for the survey.
Okay, so individually, yes, each person on CAC should take that after we finalize the intro. Should take that and email it themselves. Take that initiative and email it. There's not going to be one person that does all this. This part of it will be the people that we know in CAC that would be interested in this. And you take that intro, which has the link on it, and email it to them and say, hey, you know.
Oh, okay.
The intro will be the explanation of what's going on. You just send it out to who you think might be appropriate.
We can get a couple of farms, I think.
Okay, great. Mike, you got your hand up? You're muted, Mike. You're muted, Mike.
Okay. Yes, sir. Skip, the Conservancy, Sulphur Creek should have a nice mailing list. Well, that was not burned.
Not that.
Okay.
That we had. I'll explain that whole thing and what's going on.
You
there.
don't have to. I'm just putting names out.
Right. I mean, I can give it. I can give it out to the board members.
Kiwanis will have a major list.
Okay. Would you like to take that on and give it to them?
Well, I could just contact Janine.
Yeah, great. That's all you need to do. Right. Anytime you have ideas, once we finish the intro, just take the intro and that has all the information. It explains what the survey is, and it's got the link. Send it on to whoever you know.
Yeah. Just
Carol?
a suggestion, if you wanted to put in that intro, Skip, a little segment about if you know anybody that would be interested in taking this, please feel free to pass it along to keep the ripples going.
Okay.
I was thinking of the Orpheum as a place to post things, but separately, I just was wondering, is there a number of people or a number of surveys that you need to have in order to make this adequate as a survey?
That's
not at the moment. We were actually discussing that last meeting. We being the partnership, the CCE partnership, and we were reflecting on Columbia County and how varied the survey numbers were per municipality. It was interesting, though, that at the county level, we had the same results as the municipal level. I guess reflecting back to what was the first question on the survey of what seemed most extreme or most threatening, and they reflected the same. So we're confident, even if we have less in one municipality, that we'll still see the big picture and individual picture they'll reflect each other. So
I was just wondering, given that we have 23,000 people supposedly, of which obviously many are not adults.
Yeah, right.
So let's say half of that. Do you want 10%, like 1,000 to 1,200?
To give you kind of an idea of,
I don't know what we should be.
Yeah, and we don't know either because of just how people interact with surveys at first and outreach, and also just depending on what else they're doing in life. Some people are taking surveys all the time and just are burnt out. For Columbia County, I hate to keep going back, but that is the reference. For the entire county, so 16 municipalities were included in that. We had 860 surveys in total.
For what
So
area?
Columbia County. So
For the whole
16
county.
for the whole county, 16 municipalities. So there are more municipalities, but because of funding, we only could do 16 plans. So we were doing, looking at the countywide kind of perspective for the 863, and then breaking them down into municipality responses, and answers matched. So countywide versus and municipality. So even if we have, I guess my point is, even if we have a small number coming from a municipality in Ulster, we can still look at the bigger picture and feel a little confident that it'll be, match.
Okay.
And again, we can look at the adaptation plan, finishing that out next year if you guys are still interested in doing that. And looking at those surveys, there's a different survey that we would do next year. But if there's any missing pieces that we feel we need to ask again, we can do that then.
Stephen, you have your hand up? Stephen, you're muted. You're muted, Stephen.
I think I'm okay now.
Okay.
If you send a copy of the poster, I could give it to Smith Hardware, put it in their window, and Connie's Bake Shop, the various.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send around a copy of that poster to everybody.
Yeah, great.
And you can print it out and put it wherever the heck you can put it. Okay, far and wide. Okay?
Okay.
I will send that out. What I intend tonight is to try to get all the ideas for the intro and put it together, and then I will send you the final. And you'll be able to take that and send it to your email list, to the libraries, farmers markets, Orpheum, wherever you can get that to people to send it out. And then also I'll send along with that a copy of the poster that you can print out yourselves and plaster it everywhere.
If you're doing a poster, Skip, it should have a QR code on it.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Yes, this poster has a QR code that I assume takes you right, as the link does in the introduction. The QR code takes you to the same place. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, both are.
Okay, Bill?
Yeah, let's, I think we ought to use the Socrates Democratic Committee. They've
Okay.
got a big mailing list.
Okay.
Let's bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Okay. Kathleen?
Muted. Okay, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. Years ago, I took statistics in college, and I cannot remember what the percentage is. But for you to have a legitimate survey which gives you an accurate picture, there is a certain percentage of surveys that go out that should be returned.
Well,
you might not get an accurate survey result if you don't reach a certain percentage. I don't know what that percentage is, but
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Caution. That's all I'm just saying.
Yep. And so I can tell you how these will be used in the assessment. So the survey is to gather as much information as possible. It's not going to be used in a statistical manner. So I hope that uses your mind, because yes, you are correct. There is a threshold of what's actually going to be usable if we were doing like a research paper or something like that. For our intended purposes, we're trying to gather basically in-depth information about the community. So thinking of like, do you know of any infrastructure that is going to crumble? Kind of
Right.
sussing that information out as much as possible. So even 5 answers is going to give us something more than 0. And then the ranking is to help inform when we're at the workshop itself doing the tabletop exercise of the mapping for the people, I guess, at the table to keep in mind as we're going through it of you're here presently, but you also need to represent the people that can't come here. And these are their answers. Granted, yes, it would be great to have everybody do the survey, but it also would be great if everybody voted the election. So we're going to take what we can get and have that represented at the table. And then that will be reflected in the vulnerability assessment report, which is required to get your points. So the outreach, the input from the community, and then again, we can revisit anything we feel we still need to fill in more gaps to for the adaptation plan next year. Does that help answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ken?
Yeah,
Ken,
not
you
wrong.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Ken, you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. Thank you. 2 points. First, if you're going now or at any other time to try and make use of the Saugerties Dem Committee mailing list, you don't want to be biased. You ought to be in touch with whoever's in charge of whatever other political party, large political party, obviously Republicans. I don't know how large the conservatives are, and ask if they would want to distribute this using their mailing list. Otherwise, it becomes a possibly biased group of people answering. So that would be for now and for later. Second, as someone who taught statistics for 39 years, Lindsay's comments are absolutely on the mark. And you're going to be getting a self-selected group of people responding. You're not getting a random anything. People have a choice of whether to do it or not. And so the best you can do is use that as a data gathering group of people, but in no way would it be a sample of all Saugerties. So Lindsay's comments and how she explained it would be used as absolutely the appropriate way of doing it.
Great. Other comments?
Well, I was going to say, you kind of trumped me there, Ken. My career was as a statistician, but I never taught it. But I was also going to say Lindsay's answer was absolutely correct. It's a sample of convenience. It's being used for not statistical purposes, but for qualitative purposes, and that's just fine. If we had more data on who was responding, you could do goodness of fit tests and adjust your sample, weight the responses, and all sorts of nonsense. But we're not going for that.
No, I'm not going for that.
Speaking my language, though.
Okay, so we're going to adjust the intro to add a pass it on bit. Is there anything else? Did Fred, since Fred's name is on this, did he comment on that intro? Was he happy with this? Did he want to add or subtract anything?
We didn't get into that so much. I'm not sure Terry has shown it to him yet.
Okay, well, we should do that.
Yeah, we will. I'm sure he's seen it by now.
Okay.
And
so we'll have to gather a bunch of information. And, there was also Lindsay's suggestion that we say that this is going toward the vulnerability assessment and the, future adaptation plan. Mary saw that and thought, are people really going to respond to that? Do they know what that is? Maybe we should just say, your responses will help inform the town, prepare plans to address threats to extreme weather. So does anybody have any feelings on either of those options to add the statement? I mean, Lindsay, do you really think it's necessary to bring up something that people probably don't know? The vulnerability assessment, the resilience tool, people are going to, what the hell is that? But if you say, like Mary suggested, this is going to help us make the study. Would that be sufficient to your ends?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
think
that's
it'll be better.
okay. Great. Good.
Keep it simple.
Okay. So I will add that, and then we'll get it whatever responses that Fred has to it and put that together. And then I'll send it all around that intro, which has the link to the survey, active link, and you can send it around to people on your list who you think are interested, to in individual cases, the library, the Orpheum, the farmers market, and I'll also send around the poster so that you can print that out and bring it around physically to some of these establishments. And then, relative to what the town's going to do, they're going to send it out to the committees and the committee members and the heads of the department, at least. So does that sound like a comprehensive way of getting this out? Does
It
anybody
does.
have? Okay. Okay, great. All right. So that's what we'll do. Do you have any other comments, Lindsay? I mean, we'll do this as soon as we can. I know you're anxious for this, but so the final decision is in all these cases, since it seems like it might be incumbent upon us to resend it at a certain point. Everybody who's done this, keep your lists in mind so that we can resend at one point. Okay, so that if you send it to a group of people, stick it out to the corners, and in 2 weeks, if Lindy says nobody's answering our survey, then we can go ahead and resend it. Does that work for everybody? Mary has her hand up.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm sorry it was late to the meeting. I guess to Skip's point right now, as I read the email from Lindsay, the deadline for returning the survey is September 14th. I don't know if you had that discussion already.
We had discussed a deadline. The feeling was that we would probably have to send this information out more than once. And that idea of having a deadline was kind of dropped.
Okay, so the point that I wanted to make is that my suggestion would be when it goes out, do not put a deadline. Because I'm just coming from my own personal perspective. If I get something and they say the deadline is September 14th, it goes to the very, very bottom of my list, and I may or may not ever get to it. So,
Contrary Mary, is that what your name is?
So my suggestion is don't do that. And as Skip said, depending on how the response is, we can, send it out later, closer to the September 14th deadline. So anyway, I just wanted to.
So everybody remember to keep those lists in mind because we're going to reuse them again. It's really important. I think sometimes the personal contact, when I send something to somebody, hey, this survey is important, it's coming from Skip, then they're more likely to think, oh God, he sent me another thing. No, they're more likely to respond. So, Carol?
I was going to suggest that we do a master list so that we don't duplicate each other too often.
Oh
I don't
boy,
know if that's useful or not.
I don't know.
Does somebody want to do that
right.
or
That's the question.
I was going to volunteer to Saugerties Planning Board, obviously, Farmers Market, Orpheum, and that's where I was heading. But
Okay. Oh, you mean who you're going to
yes,
major things we're going
right.
to send out. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Don't
If
do
people
that.
want to,
or they can get more than one. That's the other.
right. Well, I mean,
Yes.
Bill and or Ken are going to go to the library. If you do those three things that you said, Bill's going to take care of the committees and stuff, department heads from the town.
Well, she just said she's going to send it to the planning board, though. So that's one of the committees.
Right.
Okay, so why don't you not do that and let Bill take care of that?
Well, no, let's do that. Let's let her do that. And I'll tell Terry to take the planning board off.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody can coordinate all that stuff.
The planning board is going to happen next week. So hopefully we'll have all of that. I can do it there at the time.
Okay. All right. So any other suggestions on this? Okie doke. I'll be looking for an intro I'm going to send you all and a poster that you can put around. Okay. Good. All right. So we can move on now. Okay, Bess. So we submitted last week or last month, I should say, our utility or usefulness report. Well, wait, Carol and Lindsay have their hands up. Shall
Oh.
I ask what you want to,
I didn't lower mine, sorry.
okay, and Lindsay?
I just want to quickly ask, because there is the planning tool meeting that I have to send out invites and for the workshop for the municipal stakeholders. I know the town is filling that portion of it out. Just curious if there's an expected time that they'll return that, or if there's someone I can reach out to, just to go ahead and try to get that started as soon as possible.
That's a question to you, Bill, I think.
I know, I'm raising my hand.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bill.
Yes, I would be the one you'd contact.
Okay.
And so the questionnaire has been sent out to certain department heads. I have a question to you, Lindsay.
Sure.
Do you want all department heads at the meeting, or just the ones who were involved in this previously that we think are the likely people? Right now, it's the building department. A guy, Kevin Brown, representing who supplies water to Socrates. He's actually a member of the village board, establishment. And the police department. That's primarily who we're dealing with.
Do you have any emergency service people?
No, we have an emergency service committee that has been on hiatus for a long time. It's actually just one person, but they have not been active.
Okay. So let me quickly look at that real fast. I don't take any more of your time. Yeah, police, you said building, so code enforcer, I'm assuming. Any like highway department?
Yes.
We have a highway department.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be
very important.
Yeah, I'm assuming if there is anybody from the fire, that would be great, but that may be information that the police department might be able to answer, depending.
We have 5 fire districts in Socrates.
Okay.
5
So my thought is building, police, highway, and fire if possible. If we can, I can get those emails, and I'll obviously CC you and Skip on the email to them to set up a meeting.
One of the fire chiefs is also a board member.
Okay. So that'll cover the municipal, coverage, and as well as you. And
so it has been sent to the people I just mentioned, the building department, police, and the water. And actually, the water guy was pretty instrumental in keeping records of what was done last time. But they didn't have a due date, a suspense for getting back. I looked at the email today.
Okay.
So maybe there's work due date for them.
Yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to talk to them again to set up a meeting, and they know that I'm going to do that. So I'll remind them that we need a response to complete that at that time.
Yeah, and even if, I guess, what am I trying to say? For me, the biggest thing, if you have those 4 emails and you just want to email me that, I can reach out to them with you all CC'd on there to set up that big, like 2-hour planning tool meeting.
Sure.
And then part of I'll just go through the section, the community stakeholder group. I can still be worked on before, that's for the workshop primarily.
So the community stakeholder isn't for the tool.
It's not for the planning tool. It's for the workshop.
Okay, but that's on the same questionnaire.
It is. So ideally, if we got signatures and the funding, anyway, if we started like a couple of months earlier, I feel like it would have been a less push. But the local plan knowledge, that is the first tab in the planning tool. So that could technically be done during the planning tool meeting. I'll be looking at the old plan anyway and doing basically a literature review of these plans and reports and updates between now and the planning tool, and then again after to help fill in any gaps. Excuse me. Yep.
I'm good. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, I guess the bottom line, I guess, is what I'm trying to say is like the 4 emails is really all I'm looking for at the moment.
The 4 email addresses
Mhm.
of the
Yeah. Building, police, highway, and fire.
Yeah,
and
okay.
water if you want.
Yeah. So
Water seems really important to me. Boy.
Yeah,
And-
if it's a pinnacle person in your community, absolutely.
Well, there's been issues with the water this year, so even though
Yeah.
it's a village thing, that's one thing I was going to ask about. The village is not involved this year?
So I talked again, we had this discussion with the partnership, and I referred to Anna because she's worked with you guys in Ulster. We are looking at the work. I'm trying to think what you guys did together. She mentioned, and you also, I think, mentioned, Skip, that's something that you and the village did together. I think maybe it was the last planning tool.
I think it was.
It was,
Yeah, they were on.
it was a town and village joint venture. And it was really, really important because so much of the issues in terms of, weather, extreme weather events, as we know, as we always say, weather and climate doesn't have boundaries. And it was
Right.
so important because so much of the town and the village infrastructure is sort of, combined there. So, so my thought would be, even though the village is not, quote, technically part of this, would it not be appropriate to bring in some of the folks from the village just to be part of it? Because I think their input would be important, and there's going to have to be at some point coordination among the two municipalities.
Yeah.
That's our source of water.
Oh, it was in the village.
The village owns the source of water.
We buy it from the village.
Right.
Right.
So anything that affects them is going to affect us. And they had algae trouble with it this year.
And also, I mean, if we're talking about the environment, we joined, the Hudson River is joined, the Esopus Creek is joined, as Skip points out, the source of water is in the village, controls that, but it affects the town. So, so my suggestion is that in addition to town officials, we might just want to include the village officials.
Well,
And
Kevin
also
Brown was on
the
list.
yeah, and in terms of the town departments, I think Greg Chorvis should absolutely be involved as well, because if there's going to be plans for, evacuation or extreme, weather events, Greg Chorvis, who is head of building grounds and recreation building grounds, so I think he would be, a key person as well. And then I'm wondering, in terms of stakeholders, at that point, do we want to get involved, get the Chamber of Commerce involved because of the businesses? I don't know what your breadth of reach is.
Yeah, so to distinguish the planning tool meeting from the workshop, is the planning tool is going to go over the plans reports that exist, and it's basically looking for gaps of where things could be more resilient. So we're looking at a snapshot of where you guys stand now and opportunities to increase that resiliency within the town. So that's why it's going to be primarily the town municipal members. And then for the workshop, I think I mentioned this in the email to you, Skip, having someone from the village is perfectly fine. It won't be focused on the village, though. Obviously, yes, things cross over. It's just a funding thing where we're working with the town, and we unfortunately can't add in a last minute municipality. But needless to say, it's going to inform each other. So to have people from the village at the workshop, obviously it's sounding even more important now that I know a little bit more about like where the water is and how it's influencing this. Also curious if you share like resources, like do you share fire? Do you share
Police,
police?
police, we do, definitely.
Highway as well?
Not yet.
No,
So two different highway departments, two different
Right.
highway
Yeah.
departments, but
They're talking about it though.
Okay. So these are things to have if you have people in mind. Maybe it goes under the community stakeholder list or however you want to frame that for the workshop. But the planning tool is going to be focused just on the town. There will be obviously be mentioned of the village information. And hopefully next year, this is what we talked about with the partnership, was if we're doing the adaptation plan, it only makes sense to if the village is interested to add them on. Because it, much like over in Dutchess County, we're working with Millington and Northeast. They're nestled inside each other. They share all their resources together. They have a task force that is shared for both. So we can't separate the two. And it's sounding much more like there is some separation between the village and town, but it's becoming less and less, and pretty much non-existent at the water stage. So from what I'm hearing though, building is separate, police is shared, highway is separate, fire, there's lots of fire. And then the water is one person, but it's basically he's your kind of like liaison into the village, if that is correct, since you purchase water from the village.
Yes.
Yes.
And the person that who was involved last time from the village is now head of the village highway department.
Okay.
But he's still the most knowledgeable guy.
Who's that?
I don't know. That's not true, I guess. For water, he's knowledgeable about what happened last time, I guess.
well, Hoff's their water guy, so
Yeah, Mike Hoff is
he-
the best guy for water.
right.
Are there any other crossovers like the water with the village and the town?
Well, we mentioned police, but that's
Right, police. And then you said like infrastructure, but like the highway department and the village takes care of that versus the town. There is that separation still.
yes. There's like snow plowing, for example. There.
Yeah, sometimes they share
Yeah.
services. They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they
Okay.
borrow each other's stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But
right.
it's not a formal agreement. But
Mhm.
it's obviously something that we are affecting one another. So
Mhm.
whether or not on the books it's separate or not, there's certainly in times of hazard or that. I mean,
Mhm.
we're all on one ship, so the
Right.
ship's pretty close. So
Yeah.
seems necessary to include them because just because the road stops at Minder Street in one's town,
Mhm.
one village, doesn't mean you don't have to drive on that road. So
Oh, right. I share the same viewpoint. I think of it more as like watersheds, just like boundary doesn't stop there just because there's a watershed boundary on the map.
right.
How about we'll just go with the five. Obviously, the water persons is even more important now that I'm learning a bit more how integrated things are. And then as you guys are looking through, I know the town is going to fill out the community stakeholder group as well, that section. But I think Skip, you also mentioned for people in this call to think of folks and
Yes,
village
I
people.
want to when I send this stuff around, send me names of people who you think, like Patrick Landway, like Mary
Mhm.
McNamara, other people who we can put in that stakeholder list that
Yeah.
So send
And
those names to me. This is not to send the survey to. This is for them to be in the working group, stakeholders that will be not department heads, but knowledgeable people in the community that that could be helpful in in a workshop. So,
Yeah.
Mike,
And
Yeah.
Mike
I think we have to do a stronger outreach to the village. To me, the village might be the most vulnerable part of the town.
Yep.
Being right on the Hudson, right on the Esopus. We also have waste treatment plants,
Right.
which are right on the Hudson.
right on the
Although
creek.
two of them are
Creek.
in the town. One is in the village.
The village is on the creek, isn't the town on the Hudson?
Town is also on the creek. The creek
Yeah,
runs
the
between
town
the
is on
town.
But what I'm saying is that it seems like the whole village area, plus the concentration of people in the village is much greater than the town. We're spread out.
Mhm.
So to just simply, I think we need to do a little bit more thinking about integrating with the town, with the village. They do, I know from what Freddie says, the highway often shares, there's a sharing that goes on between the highway departments, although it's not an official melding.
Actual.
So just something to think about. We often go our separate way from the village, or they go from us. But in terms of this particular issue, they have to be brought on board. I hate to
So who would that be?
put a damper on things, but
No, but who would you suggest that be?
What I think,
certainly you should involve the mayor.
Right.
Certainly you should involve the head of the water department. That's a major.
That's a different person. Okay.
That's my.
what I would suggest is
There's a village water department, and then there are town water districts, but the village controls the water, and that person should certainly be involved.
You know, we do have a drinking water source protection plan initiative going on here that does involve the village.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Then they should be part of this.
what I would
Be a
suggest,
contact person. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
what I would suggest for the workshop is to get those folks that who were at the workshop in 2019. I mean, Jeff Helmuth was there. I'm trying to Kevin Brown was there. Maybe, and many of those folks are still around. Maybe having them participate in the workshop could be helpful because they were part of it back in 2019, the folks from the village. And I think to your point, Mike, you know, the mayor obviously is going to be, you know, a significant, you know, voice in all of this. So yeah, I think the mayor or you know, whomever the mayor may want to designate to attend would be helpful. Because I think, Mike, your point is really well taken about the village.
Okay. So back to Lindsay.
Yeah, I don't disagree having the village representatives there as long as you still have your town as well. Just to be, I guess, clarify, will be on the CC end, the output is going to be for the town and not the village. However, you know, the idea that I'm seeing is next year we do adaptation plans. You know, if the village is on board, we can reach out to them, have them come in, maybe catch them up to speed with doing a couple like planning tool or the vulnerability assessment themselves. We would be basically just using what we would have done with you guys in a way. So I guess if you're reaching out to them and they seem a little hesitant, you can also say that if you want to be part of this project next year, all of this is going to inform your information in it. So if that helps.
Okay. All right. Any other comments here? Okay. So again, Bill will get on the case and get you the department head names. That's what you need most urgently right now. And we'll do the things we talked about to get the survey out, both at the town level and for individuals can do outreach. I'll get the intro into a final form and send it around so that you can attach it, and also send the flyer around with the QR code so that you can distribute that and send it to whoever you want. Okay?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lindsay. And hopefully we'll get the department heads on the to you right away. Okay. All right. Shall we move on to Bess?
Skip, do you still have a place for me on the agenda?
Well, why don't you stick a little bit while you have to leave?
No, I just have something to add, but
Right, I do have. Yes, you're on the
Okay.
agenda.
okay,
And,
good.
Yeah, you're right after this. So
Okay, good.
fill us in on anything that we haven't touched on.
Just a small thing, right?
Right. So Bess, we submitted reports again to the town. I don't know, Bill, if you can comment whether that they were well received or and there was any comment or anything.
Well, I think everybody kind of knew what was coming, but it was quite well received by the board members. It's on our it's on the CAC website. It's
Right.
actually, you can access it by going to the best part of our town website.
Right. It's on Facebook too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I've already been referring people to it,
Great.
which is really helpful. Because I can just say, rather than argue with somebody, I can just say, regarding safety issues, I suggest you go read this report and
Right.
read it in detail.
I
And
mean,
so, yeah, well received and job well done.
okay, just want to make sure that it was, looked at and if there was any critique of it or anything that we need to know about. I mean, at one point there was talk about Stephen taking privilege of the floor. Is that really necessary to present it? Do you think that was more a support element than anything?
I don't think so, but I'll ask.
I think, like again, in this discussion too, what happened last night at the town board meeting, I think is really important. What happened, the dialogue between, if people don't know, developer, KCE, both Joel Viduna and Paul Williamson mostly Joel, gave a talk about the history of Bess, safety history of Bess, and then for an hour and a half took questions and answered them incredibly well. And met anywhere from legitimate questions to kind of hostile stuff, especially from the news. That was ridiculous. But anyway, he handled it all very well. And I think my feeling was that it really made a difference. That even the most, some people are never going to listen to it. And some people still don't understand after it was explained to them. But those people who could and were exposed to that kind of rational dialogue, where even Liz was saying, there was a good dialogue between she and Joel, and that was really good. And I think they both understand each other better. So if there's anything done in terms of priority of the floor, I think more of that should be done. And even both of them mentioned that they do it again. So I think that was a very positive thing last night. I don't know if if anybody else was there. Who else was there? Mike was there. Steve was there. Elizabeth has her hand up.
Yes, I was very impressed, particularly by Joel Viuna's response to people's questions. I mean, it was rational, scientific, and I was a little surprised that there was so much talk about the what was it? There was one topic that hadn't been discussed very much before.
Noise level.
Excuse me?
I think a lot was, I was surprised by the amount of interest in decibel counts.
Yes, the sound.
Noise.
Exactly. And I think that Joel and Bill, they gave scientific answers, but they also said that it was dependent on subjective factors. And the one thing the new thing that I hadn't heard before was the discussion about, was it hydrochloric acid? It was the fumes, or that, and they gave good answers to that also. So I really hope that last night's meeting and the 4 o'clock coffee. I didn't attend the coffee shop thing beforehand, but there were undecided people there. That Stephen told me that whose minds might have been changed. So I hope that's the case.
Elizabeth, tell what Joel Vardunas said to you.
Oh,
in
yeah.
email.
I commented to Joel that he and Bill must have had a lot of patience, and he said,
It's Paul Williamson.
I'm sorry, Paul Williamson. He said actually that he'd faced far more hostile audiences in other meetings and contexts. So I was pleased that they weren't too affronted.
Right.
So
Stephen?
Oh, just back up everything you both said. I think extremely successful presentation. There's no need for us to even think of doing anything more at the moment.
Yeah, they both pointed out that there is going to be, and I'm not sure this, even before a pos or neg deck is brought forward, there's going to be a public hearing. That was said twice. I thought it was only in the case that a neg deck might be on the horizon, there would be. But twice they mentioned there was going to be public hearings before that. So that's when I think our next opportunity to look what's been done in the EAF, which in my talks with Dylan Tuttle, it's much more nuanced and much more detail oriented than I ever imagined. And they're bringing on, one thing that he said, they're bringing on an expert in best safety, specific, above their consultant positions. They feel that, and it's been accepted that they should bring on a specific best consultant, as well as in geotechnical, which is, thing. So they're really going deep into this, even in the EAF section. So, when we thought before that it might be necessary to have a pos deck to go into that depth, it's been really gone into. So we'll have an opportunity. All that's public information, and we can look at all that and see if we think it's lacking in any part, and then put our 2 cents worth in there if we need to. Mike?
Yeah, I was very impressed by the whole presentation. They were totally professional. They weren't defensive to any great degree. They were terrific. It appeared to me that most of the concern comes from people in the village, since the facility is right on the village line. So most of those people were from the village. They asked their questions. I've been to a lot of these kind of meetings over 25 years. I was surprised at the lack of hostility. I thought everybody was really very respectful. Mm-hmm. And the people that were asking the questions seemed to get their answers. So I was very elated by the responses and the presentation.
Carol?
It's great to hear that, because at the planning board, we've had some pretty hostile people showing up. But at any rate, what I was going to say is that, yes, we do get an incredible amount of information in depth before we even get to do a neg deck, and there's always a public hearing that gets extended depending on how many people need to comment. So just to reassure people that there will be a long public hearing process.
There's plenty of, and even at at the coffee meeting, Paul Williamson said that he had reached out to the opposition group to say, if you'd like to have a meeting, we're open to talking to you.
That's right,
So
which
there's
I thought was
plenty,
great.
there's plenty of opportunity
Mhm.
for people, who have concerns, whether you
Yes.
think they're valid or not. I mean, they're open to talking to them. It's not like they're being closed or trying to hide anything.
Mhm.
So that's very important. And I think that showed it with their attitude, and the depth they went into when they responded at the town board meeting. So I think that what Fred said about we're really lucky to have this particular company because they have an impeccable
true.
record. They have never had a fire incident in one of their structures. They had some transformer problems, but and plus whatever they say about them, they seem really, they even make fun of themselves as being capitalists. That was kind of a funny thing.
They are. They want to make
Well, of
money.
course, the capitalists, we're always looking out for our owners, being sarcastic and self-deprecating, and then explaining why, even though that might be the case, and something why,
Right.
they needed to have bonding, that they needed to do certain things right all the way, and they're aware of that, and they're willing to go that thing. He even said at the coffee meeting, I said, if you get a POS is that going to, with all this, it's going to be another 2 years, another couple of $1 million. Are you going to, you know, suss it out? And he said, yes, we'd be willing to do that. So of course, they're hoping for that they satisfy all the questions, at the environmental assessment form level, and maybe they can. But if they don't, they're willing to keep going on. So I think they're really invested. They see this as a prime area, one of the sweetest, most appropriate areas that they have to work with. So I think they're very motivated, which that also made me feel good about them. So, Mary?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. The public hearing, as I understand it, would be before the planning board. Is that correct, Carol?
Yes.
Not the town board, not the town board, the planning board. Yeah, good.
Correct.
Thank you.
Stephen?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Paul Williamson was, before he came to KCE, the head of the New England ISO.
Oh, really?
So
That sounds familiar.
that's quite a credential.
Yeah, right. No. Carol, you still have your hand?
I just wanted to mention that the town is actually having I guess it's a site visit to a BESS out in Buffalo. And they're having people sign up, 10 to 14 people to go out there. It's a 5-hour drive each way, and they're going to get a chance to see an actual BESS in operation and see how it works and how they take the kilowatts when there's extra kilowatts, and how it releases the kilowatts back into the grid. So it could be a very interesting one. I wish I could go, but I can't on that one.
Right. And
But
the town
Terry,
is
well, that's through the town.
the town is providing the transportation also.
Correct.
It's on the 28th of July. If
Correct.
anybody would like to go.
Well, okay, hang on.
Oh.
Because so many people on the planning board had conflicts,
Right.
expressed interest in going but couldn't. It hasn't been, Stephanie's looking at maybe doing it on a weekend.
Oh, that would be cool. Might be able to do that.
Just, stand by for that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
How long has the Buffalo facility been in operation?
I think since 23 is what I read. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I saw today.
It's a 20 megawatt.
It's only a 20 megawatt, right? It's not 100.
Okay.
But they're willing to do the site, and they planned the timing. They talked about 1 to 2 o'clock is when, there's a high point for some reason. So you could be there to experience, especially the noise element
Right.
of the facility during that kind of critical period. So, Mike?
Yeah, many, from what I could see from the emails, the invite, many people can't make it all the way to Buffalo. Someone did make a suggestion for a video, and I also commented that if they made a video, it would be an extra wonderful thing to be able to expose the public to.
Yeah, really.
So
More than 12 people could see it.
yeah, so I didn't make the idea for the video, but it was a great suggestion, and they might hopefully maybe they'll take that suggestion up and create something that we could show at a town board meeting.
That would be great. I mean, they did make this the comment that if you went to this facility, when you went inside the facility, they were going to take your cell phones while you were in there, I guess, so people didn't take pictures because of I don't know, whatever is happening with the equipment. But probably an official person who could take a video wouldn't have that restriction on them. Any other comments about Bess and last night, and where should we go forward? Or okay,
Now we wait. The
yeah,
planning
now we
board.
wait and say. I mean, Dylan's thinking, September, October before anything really, before they get all they're still waiting for certain studies, the geotechnical, and a couple other, but basically they're in there, meeting all the requirements. So that's it's not like they're given the plan. I don't know. Carol could speak to this better than I. I just heard it secondhand from Dylan. I mean, they're being cooperative and coming forth with significant information that you're asking for. Is that correct? Carol?
Yes, absolutely. They're incredibly professional about what they're doing. They're proud of what they've done, and they have good credentials. So they presented themselves well.
Do you have any, while you're on here, do you have any other comments about the planning board?
No, we haven't had our planning board meeting this time around, and basically there wasn't much on our agenda for that would implicate us as a CAC.
So they had made mention that they're coming to every planning board meeting, and something
they update.
confused me a little bit.
Mhm.
They kept talking about applications, like they're continuing to make applications. Is that just a form, or is that I'm not understanding. I didn't understand that part of their talk last
Yeah,
night.
I think I don't know what they mean by applications. I know that they're informing us about a variety of things that we ask about in terms of fire safety, or in terms of, I don't recall all the different things that they present to us and update us on. So site plans, tree cuttings.
That seemed like very minimal from what he said. They're only going to be dealing with 6 to 8 acres, and basically it's scrub.
12 of it is, not all of it is being used. 12 acres is what's being used, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Mary, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Carol, is the issue regarding the sister's property on the Hudson, that development, is that done? Is that still in motion? Is that, where is that at?
Can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, the
Hudson.
proposal for for houses on the sister's property.
Oh, the Sisters Project. It's stalled.
Stalled.
Nothing's happening as far as I know.
Okay.
They could be working in the background, and we won't know about it until it comes forward again. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, town liaison.
Yeah, with regard to the best site, Paul mentioned it. I went up there. He showed me around, and he's right. It's just the wooded area that would be cleared is scrub growth that's maybe 10 or 15 years old. That's grown up in kind of some wetlands.
Yep.
Which, by the way, the DEC was up there looking at the same time, looking at the wetlands, which I found that interesting to see what they were doing.
At the same time that you were there.
Yeah.
Huh. That is interesting.
All I was going to answer is I was asked maybe by Carol sometime, I can't remember who asked, whether the drinking water source protection plan effort applies to private wells. And so I owe you an answer, and the answer is no. It's only public water supplies, and public water supplies are defined as water delivered through a pipeline to 5 or more residences. So, no, not private wells.
Yeah, I was the one who would ask the question, and I think we sort of knew the answer. Skip
Okay.
kind of alluded to that, but thank you, Bill, for
Oh.
double checking. Appreciate that.
So
So
is it-
basically, it's just addressing the reservoir water we get from the village, right? Is that correct?
That, and we also have the several water districts.
Yeah,
Right, but they get their water from, that all comes from the same source. Am I not
No,
correct? with
that's
that?
some of it. There's Malden. There are some wells. Some water is being pumped, I think.
Oh, there are. I
I
didn't.
believe so.
Okay. I mean, I know there's water districts, but I thought that was just delineation of systems rather than separate source supplied areas. That's not the case?
I didn't think so, but I'll double check it.
I think Mount Marion gets its
I
water.
said Malden, I meant Mount Marion.
What's that? Yeah, Mount Marion gets its water from a private Hudson Valley Water,
Right.
which is coming from an aquifer. So that's
Uh-huh.
another.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the only other.
And
source.
what about Glasgow? That's a separate water district.
Pardon me?
Isn't Glasgow a separate water district?
Glasgow,
They have a separate.
Glasgow district gets it from the reservoir.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying that the only water that I know that comes from outside the reservoir is the private company, the Hudson Valley Water Supply,
Right. For Mount Marion.
Mount Marion.
Carol?
Am I right in saying that the reservoir really only supplies the town and not the town, I'm sorry, the village, and that the water districts are primarily in the village? Is that not true?
No.
No.
What if
Water districts, like, do I have a water district where I am?
No, you have a private wells.
We all have private wells, right?
Yeah, Glasgow has a water district. Kings Highway is a water district. And there are a couple others,
That's
that's
true.
what I remember.
Now,
So,
is Mal-
they're in the town, they're not in the village.
That's true. Good point.
I'm
Thank
in,
you.
I'm in Veteran and we have, village water.
Okay, so they're an area. Okay.
Okay, anything from the EMC, Carol?
Well, as you know, we had Tom Conrad speak to us about the plug-in solar and providing us with I'm looking through my notes here on the VPP,
Right. That's
Virtual
virtual power plant.
public power
That's virtual
concept.
power plant.
power
Virtual.
plant. Thank you. And I can send the slides over to anybody who's interested in that particular subject. I think it's interesting and useful to know about it. I don't know myself enough to really speak to it well. It was a great presentation, and Tom Conrad is a great resource. And he's been in front, like Skip was saying to me, he's been in front of the town board and did a presentation to some people in the town board. Is that true, Bill?
Not while I was there.
Oh, so maybe this was in front of Freddie? I don't know. I know
He was
that,
given in front of Marbletown. So he's the head of CAC in Marbletown.
Oh,
correct.
He's very, very active. And I can add a little bit to that because I came on that. I was very interested in that. So the plug-in power thing, all it needs is a town law, a very light town law to make it happen. And then that you can do this without a building permit as long as you don't have to add any electricity or make any building changes. Apparently, you just, put it outside your window and run an extension
Yep.
cord, plug it into your house.
Mhm.
But it does require a town law, which he had a sample of, which actually I sent to Freddie. And on the virtual power plant, that was being done at the state level. And that's some kind of digital coordination of
Correct.
differentiated power sources that can be utilized in different ways and at different times to lower prices. And the act that went through at the state level only allowed utilities to do that. And so Tom Conrad took on the thing of, well, we should be able to let ESCOs and CCAs do that because that would bring down the price there. So he was asking other towns to get involved as co-interveners in this action. And I also sent that to Fred, and he's actively involved in that. Fred is actually in, wants to be an intervener in that because that's very significant because what happened to our CCA was because of rates. And actually, Tom Conrad has been working with Jewel, which, if Tom Conrad's working with him and, that brings him up in my, estimation. But in any case, if this can be done, apparently it can drop the prices enough so that CCAs can be viable again, which they're not now, and ESCOs can be less competitive in there. Well, I don't know what word it was. They're viewed as kind of, maybe not as up and up because they're so dependent on a set price. If they can work with this virtual power plant digital, conglomeration, they can offer lower prices too. So it's a pretty significant thing. And Tom Conrad is heading up to coordinate with other municipalities to become co-interveners in the PSCC case. And the deadline was supposed to be June 30th, but they moved it off till October. So that's really good that Fred's on the case about that in both areas. So that's pretty significant because it could reinvigorate the CCA again, which unfortunately we lost out on. So that's some extra on that. Leslie? Leslie?
Yeah. I was hitting my unmute button. Jumping back a couple of topics on the agenda. Maybe I missed, Bill, you're talking about disaster preparedness training. It seems like we went right to the water supply, but
Ken and I both.
I don't know if you talked about it or not, but the one thing that I wanted to bring up is in that training are train derailments and train accidents under consideration.
They never mentioned that, did they, Ken?
No.
I think it's important because we have so many
Absolutely.
trains of who knows what on them. So I would
And we
just
have so many that come
make sure
through.
that is a piece of the
Great point.
thing. Okay, that was it.
Stephen?
Oh, Carol, can you send me that about the VPP? I don't know much about it, but I've heard of places where a few homeowners get their own batteries, and basically they create a micro. They pool their batteries. Say it might be 10 kilowatts, and can create a lot of power sharing, including using electric vehicles. So that there's an awful lot of good things that can be done in the future with this.
Do you have that his PowerPoint, Carol?
Yeah, I have it. I can send it to everybody if everybody's interested in it.
And also after I got off that, I Googled VPP, and there's some really, really good information about what it is. It explains it, and it does explain. I don't know how in the heck they do that. Home batteries,
Going in and out,
vehicles,
right.
and collect all that digitally
Right.
and use it to supply power and lower prices.
Artificial
I
intelligence.
just have to believe Tom Conrad that they can do it. And
Yeah.
that it's a thing, and that CCAs and ESCOs could use that vehicle.
As could Central Hudson. We would just have to come up with an agreement on what makes sense for us to pay. For instance, each of us could have our own battery in our house that can take on extra power from our solar, whatever devices we may have, and provide it into the grid. at a certain price, and then that price should go down I think the concept is that we might even be able to get paid by Central Hudson to have this battery put in to our homes, and then we would have to agree to using less at peak hours so that they could use it for other purposes. So it's there's a lot of really interesting stuff that I think can happen now because of our incredible digital processing, which will require a lot of data management.
Which would use up a lot of power.
From our home
My
batteries.
data centers.
Okay.
dear.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I don't know whether the discussion of these smaller facilities include the Sunny,
That's exactly it.
and one of the groups that I'm on, I can't remember which one, said that a bill was on Kathy Hochul's desk, but she hasn't signed it. Does anybody know about the status of that?
Yeah.
I think it passed, but she hasn't signed.
Oh, like many other bills, I'm afraid.
Mary?
This may be, what happens what happens when the power goes out if you've got a balcony plug-in?
Depends what time of day it is.
Right. If it's a night, you don't. I couldn't answer that question. I would assume that it literally, and this doesn't make any sense to me, it just plugs into a wall socket.
Right.
Yeah.
It can be up to 1200 watts.
Right.
Be outside. It can't be attached. It can't have a special outlet put in, but you don't need any building permit, and you just put it outside your window and plug it in. So, I mean, it's not a battery. So it can't, if it's at night, it's not gonna, if the power goes out,
But could
I don't
you,
know if it would be enough, 1200 watts would be enough to power anything in your house, maybe your refrigerator.
But if the power goes out and it's plugged into an outlet, it's plugged into your panel, so is it?
I think the idea is that obviously it would be during the day, and if the power goes out during the day and you still have solar, you can still use it. And they suggest no more than 800 watts because otherwise it's just wasting your money. And because it doesn't go into the grid, nobody's paying for it. You're just getting it as solar into your
home
as wiring system. I don't know.
So
Well,
what
it's
you're
like a
saying then
boost.
is it plugs in and it saves the whatever,
No,
it saves-
you plug it in, and the energy that's being produced in that panel goes into your house.
goes into your house
Right.
as
Now, I don't know-
backup,
Box there.
as backup, so that if the power goes out, you got a
No,
little
it
bit of,
can't be, no, it's
There's
not a
no
battery.
battery.
It only is when it's directing, when there's sun hitting it, it's producing electricity. And I guess the theory is that if you got a bunch of stuff going on in your house, and you plug this on, instead of taking power off the grid, totally, you're utilizing whatever power this is making to supplement, so you're not pulling as much power off the grid.
right. So my question is, when you have an outage, what happens?
I would
Might be able
assume
to
that
run
it
the-
still worked.
you might be able to run your computer.
Yeah.
Did what?
Might be able to run your computer off your solar panel.
Well, they said 1200 watts.
Oh, I read somewhere 800, but yeah.
It's 12.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is that whatever wattage you had there, it would run whatever you needed, like a small amount, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin?
Yeah, well, I think like similar to an uninterruptible power supply for a computer, I think you need to have an electrician hook it up as you would, a generator, like a Generac or whatever those machines are. No.
No, the local law says that you can't do anything else. You just plug it into your house. I don't understand that, but you can't make a special outlet. You can't even attach it to the side of your house. Under this scenario, there's no building.
That's the state law you're talking about, or the local law?
Local. It needs to be a local law.
Yeah.
It needs to be a municipal law. Have
I'm gonna
Carol
send
sent
this
you
out.
the
Yeah.
thing, and there's an explanation of it. Tom
Yeah,
Conrad did.
they have these in Europe where you just kind
Yes.
of hang them on your balconies and
Right.
such.
Yes, and it's called balcony solar there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send this out right now to everybody, if I can access it somehow.
So the solar has to have an inverter built into it to convert the DC to AC.
Yeah, I guess that's included in the package.
Right, it does have that. It's part of the solar panel. So I can read to you what it says. What is plug-in solar? As you said, up to 1,200 watts, as defined by New York Sunny Act, typically 1 to 3 panels, plugs into an existing standard outlet, no new wiring or hard wiring, offsets what the home draws from the grid in real time, mounts on roof, balcony, or ground, no building penetration needed, and already common in
Allowed.
Europe. Tens of millions deployed. So
Wow.
that's what the slideshow says.
He said there was a 3-year payback. Typical.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
excellent.
good.
It's not a lot of power, but it's something. Okay, any more questions there? Carol's going to send that around to you. The PowerPoint was very good. So I don't know if there's a recording of the meeting or not. But also, again, I Googled the VPP, and there was some very, very succinct, understandable information about it. Although that seems crazy to me that you can coordinate a bunch of people's batteries and EVs and solars and whatever, and make it work so that you make money out of it or create less cost out of it. And anyway. Okay, so I had spoken to Nicole about the tree ordinance, and she sent me a copy. I sent it on to Leanne to, give an overview, give her impressions of it to see if, what it might be done to it to, pass muster at the town board level. So that's what's happening there. So are there any other announcements? I hope to hear again. Can you let us know about that, what Steph comes up with about the trip to Albany?
I'm certain Terry will send it out as soon
Okay,
as
great.
it's done.
Great, good. Because that would be very interesting. It's kind of a long investment in time.
Sure.
Because it's a 4.5, 5. Paul described it. He also mentioned it. He described it as a 4.5 hour and not quite to Buffalo.
He had
It's
the
a-
wrong site, though.
I'm
it's in
sorry?
Ham-
He had the wrong site in
Are you
mind.
sure?
Yes.
Really?
When he was
But he was supposed to give the tour.
when he was he called it Lackawanna at first. And that's closer than the actual one. But anyway, then there's not a big difference.
So long.
Okay.
They'll have in-flight entertainment, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any rest stops on the way or what, but so or lunch or whatever. I don't know. That wasn't.
Don't count on it.
That's great. That's great that the town arranged that. That's really amazing and shows they're really interested in getting real information. Nothing like being there to have real information. Leslie, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just sort of a fun announcement, I guess you might say, but tomorrow I'm going to be serving on a panel for young people that are just starting out their careers in environmental fields. And it was because I ran the invasive species program, and we're going to have several professionals from earlier in their careers to me as a retiree to give our perspective on the future of environmental work, and with what we see as the challenges coming down the pike and that sort of thing, and to encourage young people. as they're just starting out on their careers. So I'm happy to be part of that. And they're even going to have like resume people helping with their resumes and stuff. But my role is going to be actually serving with one of my former colleagues and then a number of other partners in the environmental field on this panel. So just want to share that. Thanks.
And where is that?
It's at the Catskill Center for Conservation and Development.
Yeah.
It's being hosted by CRISP, the Catskill Regional Invasive Species Partnership.
Great.
So when they first asked me, I said, I don't know what I can, I've been retired 10 years. And they said, that's exactly why we want you to come. So, yep. So anyway, yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks.
Stephen?
Oh, just past history, when the casino was being considered for Saugerties, Greg Helsmortel put together a field trip to Foxwoods.
Oh.
I think that was very helpful.
Yeah.
And
I went one of those too. I remember
did
that.
you? Okay.
Jeez. Why anybody would want to go to one of those places, I have no idea.
They get addicted.
I guess. Mary?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, speaking of invasive species, the Esopus Creek above the dam is really the proliferation of the milfoil is it's unusual this early in the summer. I know we've had a lot of hot weather, high temperatures, and there's a lot of talk where I am on the Esopus on our road. People are really upset that nothing is being done about removing. It just looks like algae on top of the milfoil. I haven't been out in the kayak, so I haven't really seen it, up front. But there's a lot of a lot of talk. I know some people have called the supervisor's office. Bill, you may be aware of this, to have the town do something. As you know, in the past, we had cooperation between the town and the village to remove the milfoil. I've been away a lot, and I've heard that it's only been out there twice. I've been away, so I can't attest to, when the village has come in and worked on it. But I did say to some folks on the road that I would bring it up at our meeting because we have dealt with it in the past. And we know Leslie did that amazing survey, 3 or 4 years, probably 4 years ago. So it's really bad. If any of you have been out kayaking or canoeing or in the creek, you'll see what I'm talking about. I haven't been down to the lower creek. I don't know what it's like down there, but I can tell you above the dam, it's really bad.
Yeah, and the ECC's gotten a couple of queries about it too. So
who has Skip?
ECC, they're right. Say, hey, what can you do about this? Well, you have to talk to the village about it. So I don't know. Do you know anything about the status of that cooperation agreement? Because we put a bunch of money into that, and it seems like they're running the show. And
my recollection is originally, as we know, it was a partnership among the town, the village, and Mullen. They each contributed to getting the harvester. So that was phase one. Then phase two was that the village was operating it, but they worked with the town. The last I heard was that the village purchased the harvester, and the town was not involved in the purchase, and therefore is not involved in the removal of the milfoil from the area in the creek, outside the village line. So that's my latest understanding of where it is, like, technically, but as we said before, the environment doesn't begin and end at a municipal line. So I don't know, Bill, if there's anything you can do to
I'll ask around. I'll ask about it, but I think you're right. Just from my memory, before I was elected, I think that's now we know why Mullen was interested.
Right.
But you think he'd still be interested? So I don't know. I think it is on the village, but I'll see what I can find out.
Yeah, I haven't been down by the beach, maybe but 3-4 weeks ago, and it looked pretty. The milfoil looked pretty good along the shoreline around the around the property,
Nice
and over
house.
to the wetlands area, and the beach area looked pretty good. I don't know what it looks like now because I haven't been down there, but
I mean, good for the milfoil or good for Russ?
I mean, it was cleaned up or was heavy?
the milfoil was, but again, I'm talking about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the weather has been, as you know, so incredibly hot that I don't know what it is right now, whether it's infested down in that area, but I can tell you it's really bad and up in the above the dam. It's really bad.
Kathleen?
You might want to let Leslie talk if she's going to talk about the milfoil. And I'll go after Leslie.
Okay, Leslie?
Okay, I hate to say this, but this is exactly what I predicted because harvesting is not an effective milfoil treatment.
Yeah.
You can take the top 5 or 6 feet, and I know they told us it gently pulls, it gets it by the roots, but the nature of milfoil is it is developed to succeed, and one of its mechanisms is to be very brittle and break, and all those little pieces can start it again. So the best outcome that you can expect is to remove the top, say 5 or 6 feet, and make boat lanes and that kind of thing. But way back when they got the harvesters, that's not effective long term. It's going to have a little bit of impact and help maybe some recreation. It can be effective for the water chestnut as long as it's gotten before the water chestnut goes to seed. But I don't like to say it, but that's exactly what I foresaw happening.
Carol?
Oh, I got so
Wake up,
involved.
Carol. Wake up.
I was so involved in trying to find the information on the slides. I was just going to say that we were down by the water and about a week or two ago, and the boat was out. It was an interesting boat that would, I guess, I don't know, they've implemented it yet or not, and it didn't look like they had been out yet. But it's an interesting
You
process.
mean
The
harvester?
Yeah.
You mean harvester? Okay.
Yeah. It's like, what is that? Lanny said. And then it became apparent that, oh, that's what it was. That's all.
I saw it out
Mower.
once earlier this year too.
Yeah.
Kathleen, you want to speak now?
Okay. I just want to let everybody know that I am retiring from the town.
Congratulations.
Effective July 31st. And Sasha Sittner, who was formerly in the clerk's office, is going to take over closing out what few grants are left open right now. And they're primarily with the animal shelter project. And we're waiting for the final approval of the submission to the Environmental Facilities Corporation for the Malden wastewater treatment plant study. They changed their requirements in the middle of the project, and Dennis Larios, who was working on that, had to revise his final report to conform to the new requirements. So that was about a $38,000 grant. We got half of it, and they will give us the second half when he completes his revisions to the report. So anyway, it's been great learning about everything the town is doing and participating and meeting so many great people. And I remain very interested in what's going on. So
But you can join us anytime.
I will. Okay, thanks.
Got nothing to do on
Thank you
Thursday.
for all you've done, Kathleen.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Catherine.
Thank you.
Over $2 million in grants I've been involved with. The one I didn't write was the animal shelter one for 500,000, which Adele hired somebody to do that just, I guess, maybe before I came on or right after I started with Vernon. But we've gotten a lot of good money in.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your retirement.
Yes,
I'm planning a trip to France next year.
Oh,
great.
that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's really something to look forward to.
Sure
Definitely.
is.
Bill, you have your hand up?
Well, yeah, I have a question for Kathleen. And congratulations on retiring and managing to get the town to let you go. But is it your understanding that Sasha will just work on closing out the other grants and not
Yes,
doing new grants?
she wanted a part-time position, which is why she left the clerk's office. And initially, that was the discussion that she and I had a 2-hour meeting with her and Stephanie today. So she does not want to take on, my understanding is
Okay,
she does not want to take on grant writing. She has no experience. But she does have experience with a lot of administrative work and she's detail oriented. So the things that are left that are open, a couple of them might even be completed before I leave in 2 weeks.
okay, well, thank you.
So
It's
it's, yeah,
disappointing.
that's basically, and I told
Yeah.
her, and I've told Fred and Terry, I'm just a phone call away. If she has any problems, she can call me. If she has any questions, I'm right here. I'll be there. No problem.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
I now have the email ready to go to you guys. It's going to say, because it's coming from my agency, from my work side of my life. So it's going to say in the subject, do not encrypt. Hopefully that works. But if you see it encrypted, just click here from the Ulster County Community Action. It should have the slideshows on it for you. Here goes. Good luck.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay, that's all. How about a move to adjourn?
I
Approved.
Okay, second. Okay. No seconds?
Oh,
I
Lots
second.
of seconds.
Okay. All right.
see you guys.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Bye,
month.
Skip.
everybody.
Good
So
job.
I'll have the intro out to you in a couple days,
okay.
and
Thank-
maybe let me know where you're going to send this out to, other than your friends. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thanks. All right. Bye.
Care.